The reciprocal functions and their graphs. The unit circle is the circle centered at the origin with a radius of 1 unit. Its equation is given by x squared plus y squared equals 1. For any point xy on the unit circle, the first coordinate x equals cosine t, and the second coordinate y equals sine t, where t is the standard arc on the unit circle from 1, 0, terminating at xy. Note, t is measured in radians. The circular functions sine, cosine, and tangent functions have been defined using the unit circle as a motivating idea. We now consider the functions called secant, cosecant, and cotangent. The secant function is defined to be the reciprocal of the cosine function. So BC, this line here, equals secant t, which is 1 over cosine t. The cosecant function is defined to be the reciprocal of the sine function. AC, this line here, equals cosecant t, or 1 over sine t. The cotangent function is defined to be the reciprocal of the tangent function. So AT up here is the reciprocal of tangent. Cotangent t equals 1 over tan t. Secant and the unit circle. The properties of similar triangles allow us to see the relationship between the cosine and secant values. Here we have two triangles. Triangle RQC is similar to triangle BPC. RQ is to CQ is to CR as BP is to CP is to CB. So we have sine t is to cosine t is to 1, as tan t is to 1 is to secant t. So therefore, cosine t divided by 1 equals 1 divided by secant t, or equivalently, cosine t times secant t is 1, or secant t equals 1 over cosine t. Because triangle BPC is a right triangle, the Pythagorean theorem results in an important identity. Tan t squared plus 1, because this side here is a 1 squared, equals secant t squared. If cosine t equals a over b, then secant t equals b over a. Because of this, the cosine and secant functions are positive for the same set of arguments t, and similarly negative for the same arguments. The table to the left provides some sample values. Cosine of 0 is 1, and secant of 0 is also 1. Cosine pi over 6 is the square root of 3 over 2. The secant of pi over 6 is 2 over the square root of 3, which can be then written as 2 times the square root of 3 over 3. So you just flip them over. They're reciprocals. And cosine pi over 2 is 0. Secant of pi over 2 is undefined, since if you have 0 over 1 here, and then this would be 1 over 0, which is undefined.